content is for informational and educational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever by Draper Gorin Blockchain, aka DGB, the presenter, or other associated parties for the content being provided. Please do your own due diligence and seek proper counsel.
Boom! Welcome. Yeah, the intro is actually kind of funny because it's like kind of pro in the fact that we have an intro and there's the countdown and stuff. And I had like edited it together as a hack as like the first week we did this. Now we're like 36 weeks in. And part of it, the funniness of it was we still didn't know what we were going to call this thing. We were kind of joking about doing it like first thing in the morning, which we ended up delaying it a little bit. So it's not first thing in the morning for here or on the East Coast. So, you know, it's kind of funny to have people like waking up in the video or whatever, unless you're like a super lazy, techie nerd that
we're kidding to the two people
10 a.m. Yeah. The techies in Hawaii are popping out of bed, but it's fun. And we threw in a song by some local punk rockers to me, a band called Out of Trust. So everyone should check them out because they're awesome. But Daniel, welcome.
Great to be with you.
Exciting.
Stoked to have Daniel on. So if you're joining us on any of the streams, I see some people popping in. I appreciate it. I always forget this, so I'm gonna remember today. Go to dgb.vc if you want to hit us up about anything. If you want to follow anywhere. If you're not watching this live, you can go there, sign up to the newsletter, get alerts and all that stuff. But if you are watching it live, welcome. Feel free to shoot questions and comments and whatever as we go. But we've got Daniel on today, which is super awesome. And we're stoked for because Daniel is the founder of Hypermarket. And but before we jump into all that stuff and get into to what's happening now, Daniel, you want to give us a little intro about you and some of the stuff you've done in the past? Okay, go rank it. What?
Real quick, Alon. We have to say full disclosure. We are invested in Daniel's company, Hypermarket, right? So we want to give that disclosure, but we love this company and we love Daniel. And so Daniel,
yes, and you know what? Kevin says, your last name is rad. It's like a nickname, like Budzinski. It's like going like Brosidon, right?
You should be the movie, right?
Right, yeah. It's like I joked with Daniel before. I said, hey, one of my good friends from childhood's last name is kind of similar. It was Budzinski. But if it started with Buds, like sup,
Buds, bro.
Like, it's like saying, it's like saying sup, Brosidon. It's like, just throwing,
Well, and I also have to admit he does a mean like podcast video that he did where he interviewed David Blesnak from our company.
You know how
great video.
For everyone watching this and who knows how unprofessional this stream could be, imagine the exact opposite in terms but great. Still just as amazing, if not better, quality in the questions and the actual, production and stuff, but like with good lighting, good editing.
I'll put the link to the private link if you guys want to push that out. That was cool too. But it's awesome to be with you, David Rankin, Alon. I've been building a great relationship with Alon through David Blesnak, his partner, and it's been like a year and a half or two now. Alon, time flies.
Yeah. It's crazy how fast. Oh, you know what? I posted the link in the chat for people, but it doesn't show up nice on here, of course. So, but just go into the chat. You'll see the link to what he's talking about to David Blesnak's episode of his podcast. But yeah, it's probably been a couple of years since we first met. We started DGB and we were so stoked and happy to be working with you. And but I would love for you to give everyone your background a little bit before we jump into Hypermarket, just so that people get to know you. But we also, it's crazy. We should have you on here more often just to hang, because we do this every week. And sometimes we turn it into a little bit of just a hang session with the extended family, and you're definitely a part of that.
Very cool. Well, yeah, I've been I'm 34 years old, turned 35 in December. I've been a serial entrepreneur my whole life. So I got my accounting degree from Oakland University, a local commuter school in Michigan, and just always wanted to build products, build companies, build software, and started an education company that was ed tech, building digital curriculum, so digital goods. We built a bunch of courses with a bunch of mentors, and I remember I was in a kind of transition that company. I put a 12-month timeline, and on month 11, we landed a massive partnership with a distributor. And so don't give up on that last hour, all you entrepreneurs, because you never know when there's gold on the other side. We went from 10,000 users all the way to 1 million users in less than 9 months, and then 5 million users actively in the platform. It was pretty amazing, impacting kids and alternative education. It was a mental health curriculum, and it all started, I wrote this workbook called the Purpose Workbook, if you can see it. And there's 12 like beautiful chapters to this thing. And it's all this, like, these are guides, 12 guides. And so you got to start small, right? I started very small with the book, turned it in, broke it into 12 different experiences, then 12 different courses, then mini courses, then intervention courses. And so tons of iterations on that, Alone and David. And believe it or not, the private equity that funded the roll-up company that we were partnered with said, hey, we'd love to buy you and bring you into our courseware fully. And so we got acquired about 4.5 years ago, June 19th, 2020. And it's been an amazing ride ever since that. I took 4 days off, and I had a wild dream at night, and a new vision came to me of building a gaming studio and building a SaaS platform called Hypermarket. And so now we're here. We've raised money. We've iterated on this product. We've done great partnerships with major celebrities and influencers, and we finally just launched our product not less than a month ago. Hypermarket is fully launched in live.
Heck yeah. So people could go to hypermarket.xyz if they're interested in signing up, right?
Yeah. So the whole concept of this is like my world was in building digital goods and then trying to figure out how do I package this to consumers and schools and colleges and companies. Those are the 4 targets that I was focusing on early on, and sell those digital goods. And some platforms are really good at building the courseware, like a learning management system, an LMS, or a CMS, a content management system. And some platforms are really, really good at the checkout component of that, of selling the digital goods. And sometimes people use separate systems, and sometimes they're all in one. Those are a little bit more costly. And so we are a company of entrepreneurs powering creators and entrepreneurs that want to sell digital goods. And so if you go to Hypermarket and you have a digital good idea, think of like the Purpose Workbook as a PDF. Think about having a coaching. Maybe you're incredible at finance and you are great at digital marketing and you're awesome at the Facebook or YouTube algorithm. People have niche content knowledge and coaching, marriage coaching, consulting coaching about real estate. Everything about cost segregation studies for single family units. Like if you have that niche content, that data, that download, that video, that course, Hypermarket can help you build the course, release the exclusive content, do all the checkout, and you can sign up for free. So it's 100% free. We just take a transaction fee.
I don't know if you guys are like me, but every time I scroll through your Facebook or go on YouTube, I constantly get solicited for how to create my own course and sell it program, right? So you're telling me now, instead of going through any of your programs, I can just go to your site, put my course up there and sell it.
It's kind of a funny thing. Like whenever someone does well in digital marketing, then the very next product they sell, like
It's
a course about how to build a course or a course about how to sell a course. So like
exactly.
So a lot of times
I love it.
People will sell other people's courses and they'll do really well. And then they'll build their own course around something, but then they'll build a course on how to build a course. So it's a natural evolution. But yeah, dude, like seriously, probably 75% of the marketing on Facebook and Google, Meta, Instagram that target me, 25% is physical products, 75% are digital products.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's coaching. It's going to a seminar, a conference,
When you originally did it with your company, it was early days in the idea that somebody would buy something digital, somebody that would go from watching something on YouTube to actually like buying a more in-depth course, whatever. And to do it, you had to build it yourself, right? There's certain, in every sort of level up of technology or if not, I don't mean leveling up in technology itself, but adoption of technology, right? Or there is the speed in which things evolve moves faster, but also to be early, you have to be a little more technical, right? In everything, right? So if you remember original video games, pre-game systems, like we can go earlier than this, right? You go to some computers before this, but let's say like when people talk about like Ataris as the first system, but before that, people don't talk about like the computer version of it, where you actually had to type in the like commands to start the game and play football or whatever, and then from there you get to Nintendo, you get to all these things. But then we got to computer games. In the early days of the computer games, you had to have some technical ability to, at a minimum, just type in like DOS prompt commands, right? And then you go to the next step, and it gets easier and easier.
You might
and now
for that.
It's a different level.
Yeah, it's a different level. It was funny. But I know when he said he was 36, I think he was saying it like he's older now and he's had years of experience. But I was laughing at how young that is.
34.
Right? 34. Sorry, I age you. I'm maybe because I'm 7 years older. So ranking a couple years more than that. But
the idea is the technical. It just takes. Well, back in the day, it was very difficult to build a website, buy a web domain, find a place where you can host it, figure out storage on that hosting, figure out payment rails, figure out how to KYC and KYB, take money and pay out money. This would take years. A decade ago, this would take hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million, right? To figure this out and all the rails to
and
do
the time and effort and the risk. And you couldn't do this really very well, at least that's like a side gig, right? But now you're in this more modern future where you could just go on the hypermarket. Your job is just to create the content. And on our phones, even the worst of us, like in terms of being technically, inclined or whatever, can put together incredible high quality content, whether it is in a PDF or a video or whatever.
4K. Right? These shoot 4K now. These literally shoot 4K video.
And it's more even the editing ability and the everything else, all the tools that exist that make it so insanely simple and practically free. And if you take away the fact that you're already spending on those tools to just live your normal life, because everyone does it, even though it might
in
not
every
be,
industry,
right?
There's this really incredible at home, right? From fitness, yoga classes, the Peloton bike, do it at home, right? Things we want things faster, right? We want our food fast. We want our health and wellness fast. We don't want to drive to the gym. We want to do it on our iPad. It's amazing the opportunity I think digital goods are for creators and entrepreneurs, because my whole life being an entrepreneur, everyone that I interact with has a day job and then they have a side hustle. Yep. And the most powerful side hustle is selling yourself, right? Selling someone else is harder than selling yourself. And so if you have something unique, it's really interesting how people have niche passions on how to take apart a motorcycle in these specific, years and put it back together. That stuff is monetizable. Other people are into these things. And that's where
the hardest part about this is people don't realize the skills that they have, and they don't realize that other people actually want to learn some of those things.
I think they're realizing it more and more, though. And they go on to Instagram or TikTok and they're like, holy crap, that person has 1 million followers taking apart their motorcycle and they suck at it. I'm better, whatever, right? Like everyone feels that way about the thing they're obsessed with, or not everyone, but like a lot of people do. And where I was about to go is I actually had a blog and talk about back in the day when I worked at MySpace.
Wow.
When you were still in your diapers, Daniel, we're just keep doing these jokes. But I had a blog when I was at MySpace, and every blog post actually had like the title of a punk song or a quote from a punk thing. And one of them was called "More Than Just a Crowd," because one of the best songs of all time is called "The Crowd" by Op Ivy. You should all check it out. For real, actually, I bet both of you guys would love that song. At least the lyrics. But anyway, the whole point, it's Op Ivy. The band Rancid. It was the band of those guys before Operation Ivy. Yeah,
okay,
sorry.
Yeah, the best band ever. I agree.
One of the best bands ever. Plus, that song is their maybe their best song. You can argue some other ones, but they're all right.
There's a lot of great songs on that album.
And so anyway, the reason I called it More Than Just in a Crowd, because I was talking, it had nothing to do with that song, to be honest. It was just a quote. But the idea was that when I was in a punk band as a teenager, right, pre-social media and stuff like that, you might know some kids at your school who are in a punk band, right? That might be the 4 kids in your band plus like 9 other punk rockers at your high school or something. And then you get to a certain age, you get to be 16 years old, or one of your friends turns 16, you could drive around to the various towns. Your 8, 9, 10 person group can turn into like 40, 50 people from the local high schools, kids who graduated, whatever. You start getting bigger. And then you get a little older, you could travel further. But then all of a sudden social media existed, and your group of people you could hang with, market to, showcase your band to, went from not just your high school, the ones you could drive to, but your high school, the ones you could drive to, and the other 10,000 high schools in the country, or whatever, thousands. And all of a sudden that niche group didn't become so much of a niche. It would still be a niche, but what people learned is that you could go from being great and having 100 people see you and know who you are to tens of thousands of people around the world, right? Like I remember when I was at MySpace, I shared something, and one of the bands that I loved got thousands of fans in the Philippines all of a sudden. We had no idea there were punk rockers in the Philippines, right? So all of a sudden you start finding these people. Now we're now so evolved down this rabbit hole of being able to distribute things to any certain niche group that if you are a person that fixes motorcycles and has a special course you want to share with people or whatever, it doesn't matter that that group seems very small compared to other groups. And yes, okay, if I'm an artist, I could get a job at Marvel and I could be one of the artists that gets into the next Spider-Verse movie, and a billion people will eventually watch that movie because they're so good and whatever. I'll get a paycheck and it'll be great, and I'll be one of 500 people, 1,000 people that work on that movie. Or I could get a following online. I could start selling my content on Hypermarket. I could make the same amount of money because instead of working on Spider-Verse, I'm going to work on my own character that I love, and maybe I get a few thousand super fans. I'll make as much money as if I did working at Marvel. I might never get to the point where I compete with them for billions of people, or I might actually be able to, because where is Marvel and Disney and people getting some of their content from now is creators who've decided, you know what, I don't need to do that, right? There was the one kid that did the Lego portion of the Spider-Verse movie, was like literally a young kid who just had a great YouTube channel that was making those Lego stop motion things. They actually had him do part of the movie, right? It was
and here's the joke of it all.
Where I'm getting at is that you could now take it from side hustle, which you could always do, and actually make a great living doing it as a side hustle, but make it your full-time job and not be beholden to the man, right? And usually, especially with art and certain things, you'll end up having more creative control, and usually art ends up better when it's not in the hands of a committee, right? So now we're in this modern world where what Daniel did a few years ago was where the rest of the world is going and where the rest of the world is today, but it was hard to do. Now, the only thing stopping you, because all these platforms exist, is just doing it, right? And you're enabling that.
I think, David, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was a bad joke, and I was just going to comment, all these people can reach billions of people, and then they go into Web3 in a bear market, and they get 15,000.
That's for sure. Traditional marketplaces already have a great path. Follow those ones.
So I'm still in the space, but it feels like nobody else is here sometimes,
I'm big into real products, real communities. Product market fit cannot be underrated. I think one of the things, Alon and David, that I'm really excited about is when we had built this product, there's already a monster need, and there's already a great community of buyers and sellers on existing platforms. Yeah. Shopify really pierced the veil for everybody. And no one thought that Shopify was going to be successful. They thought they almost were laughed off, right? And when they had gone public, no one knew that when they went public, they were going to go then 10x, 20x. Their stock price, their growth was unbelievable. They're one of the best for physical goods, right? T-shirts, for that niche creator. And then you had Etsy. And before all that, we had, Craigslist, and we had Facebook Marketplace, and we had those kind of aggregator discovery marketplaces. But then we came along to where, and then Etsy was more crafty, where people wanted to control their brand. And that's what Shopify let you do. You could be on someone's domain and on one of the subdomains like shop and not know you're on a Shopify account. So what happened, I think, from there is building a physical product. If anyone's ever built a physical product and you got a million questions, what is the size? How thick do you want? What paper quality? What thickness of paper quality? Do you want it to be glossy? Do you want it to color full print? Then you got to actually fulfill it. You got to ship it to yourself. Quality. You got to do warehousing. Go ahead.
The good thing is we have another company called Zoop for that part of it.
Okay, cool.
So we got solutions for people.
This is a long tail. Obviously, some physical products are only able to be experienced through physical products.
Yeah.
But I think for those niche creators who have the ability to be charismatic and passionate about something, the digital product fulfillment, creation, refund, the whole deal is so fast and no cost, right? I started Purpose Prep, the company that we sold, and more of a physical market type of thing. And it was very hard, you guys. And when I had done that, the systems that I was using, it was like, all right, I'm paying $100 a month for this system, $100 a month for this system, $250 for this system. And so that's why with Hypermarket, I think we're really on the cusp of something great. And I know we are, because we allow an entrepreneur to start for free forever.
Right. And the margins are so much better.
Exactly. And we get great margins because we're just taking it. We only make money when the entrepreneur makes money, when the creator makes money. And then when they make enough money, we let them buy down their rate to zero, because we and then they can pay upfront that $99. And so ultimately, we see it as a win-win, whether you're a new creator or you're a big creator, whether you have no products or you have tons of products and success that you're migrating to our platform. We can actually align to the best way to make money alongside of you without getting in the way as a platform. And so, you alluded to it. You alluded to it. I just wanted to throw it out there to make it more clear to people that, like Shopify lets you white label your platform so nobody knows that they're on Shopify, you guys do the same thing. So if I sell digital goods and I already have a WordPress site or my own website or whatever, I can put a shopping tab on it. And Hypermarket will power that. Yeah, and 100%. Well, I will let you know that right now that feature is in our next sprint. So that's actually one of our missions, was to be like Shopify, because I'm glad you're bringing it up, Alon, because the current competitors, I love to talk about them because I think our feature roadmap really is going to have a differentiation that you won't be able to find in any one of these platforms. And each person chooses these platforms based on their needs and what they're selling and who they are. But you have Gumroad, you have Patreon, you have Substack, that's just for blogs, really. Right? Yeah. You have Stan Store, you have School, right? There's these different LMSs, CMSs, but they're ultimately digital marketplace platforms. But all of them, you lose your brand. And so, yes, you may want to be having a discovery marketplace to where you're getting discovered, which we're also going to be building one of those. But right now, we want to focus on people who actually really have a brand and they have a community on social media and they want to market to that community. And they want a beautiful checkout that has high capacity for conversions, or they want to add spend to that and market people to hit one of their pages. And so these are some of the things that, I think that as the digital e-commerce place explodes as an analog to what happened in Shopify, there's not yet a market leader that I think is going to stay market leader. There's a big opportunity for this. I also think people can't underestimate being really hyper focused, right? No pun intended, but we should, maybe that's a tagline, hyper focused. But on digital goods, but also on the e-commerce process, right? Because everyone knows if you made your own site, it's not that crazy hard to add a checkout, add a thing. But every time there's an update, there's something going on, your bank changes details or something happens, whatever, you have to update those, you have to focus on it. And if it's not your focus, then if that's not what you do for a living, it's a waste of your time to be focused on it. And you have to take lessons like what Amazon did back in the day. Amazon, one of the reasons why they're in infrastructure to begin with is because they actually figured out at some point, they did a study and figured out that every millisecond of load time
on their website actually equaled more revenue, because the faster their page is loaded down to the millisecond, they can measure how much higher the conversion rate is, meaning more people will buy the product if the page loads faster. Because at volume, that's really, really meaningful. Now, you want a company that's hyper-focused on your type of sales, on your type of product, so that they optimize the crap out of it and you never have to, right? There, you focus on your art, your tutorials, your whatever thing you're the best at. Let someone else who's reasonable, right? They're not charging you an arm and a leg. You're making it really easy for you, because what you're charging isn't that much different than just what a credit card processor would charge if you built it yourself anyway, right?
That's right. What separates Hypermarket? Like, what's the driving factor of them using your service versus others? And then can you how hard is it to create an account, and can you show us something?
Yeah, I can take you through a demo. That'd be really cool. And some of the differences, some of the features that we're actually working on right now, one of which is called payout groups. And so what payout groups is David, you and Alone can actually build a product together, and you can automate a 50-50 or 60-40 revenue split every time that product sells on the primary. So it's cool. Say it again.
You can market something with my ape.
You can market whatever you think someone will buy. But the cool thing is that you don't have to worry, or Alone doesn't have to worry about getting their money. The money just ends up in their account. You don't have to, it's not like it goes to David and then David
takes care of the distribution of it.
Yeah, and that's automating financial trust layers. We want to be the easiest and most trusted place to buy and sell digital goods. And if we want to do that, payout groups is one of those differentiators that other platforms don't have.
That is cool.
Another one that we're working on is secondary market. And so what secondary market means is, let's say I create a product and I sell it to David. David downloads the audio or video. He listens to that exclusive content. He gets the value out of it. Let's say I'm an artist that creates music you love, and I'm giving you early access to my music. You listen to it, you love it, but then you're like, look, there's only 1,000 of these, and this guy has tens of thousands of followers. You could sell it in the secondary market to Alone for more money than what you bought it for. And then I get a piece of that still. So it's a lifetime revenue stream. That product can resell 25, 30 times, and I make a 10 or 5 or whatever percent I have on the secondary. Those are two big differentiators.
But how does that different? So like versus you selling more of just your own product versus a secondary.
So that's what I was talking about. So your question is what makes our platform product and software different than others? I think those are two things. That's not every creator, right? So some creators, like, they want to build a book and they only want, like, let's say I build this book and I sell unlimited copies of it. I only want me to sell it. I don't want you selling it, because I'm selling it for $9.99 and I don't want you undercutting me reading the book and then selling it for $2. So you can toggle that feature off in that type of product instance. But like, let's use a really clear example of, like, let's hyper extenuate the example of like Drake. Drake has a cult-like following for his music. Let's say he creates songs and he says, hey, these are all my unreleased music. So if you're a super fan, you can buy these songs, but I'm only creating 500 versions of it.
Huh.
You're going to have massive secondary movement. He might make more money creating each fan to be his sales agent, reselling that. Dude, did you listen to the new Drake song? Yeah. Dude, I have one of the copies. You got to listen to it. And these are those examples of where that would actually stick.
So this brings up the issue of, like, okay, I'm going to bring it back to like the GameStop and the old video games, right? We all bought video games and then people would go to GameStop and resell their games, right? The problem is, as soon as digital games happen, you couldn't resell your games. So I see this as possibly a way to solve that problem, that now you buy a digital asset, you use it. Now when you're done with it, you can resell it.
That's right. And the reason why you can't resell it right now is because the publishers and developers building those games actually don't want you to resell it. And what I think it does is it actually levels the playing fields for the types of creators who want to be responsible to create scarcity and limitation in what they're producing and continue to release new stuff to their community.
But you're building in a royalty factor into the resale market.
Correct. So the primary split payout groups, you can have 50 people that receive 10%, or it would be 50 people that receive 2% each, or just 2 people that receive 50 and 50 on the primary, which is the first time it sells. Then you can also create a secondary. So you can say, I want to take 1% or I don't want to take 1% every time it resells. Now, I know this can get us into a certain mindset. So I just want to mention, like, this has been going on for tens and tens of years. Like, the example I would say is this is affiliates. Yeah. I create a course and I just have my affiliates all resell my course because they follow me, like a Gary Vaynerchuk or a Grant.
Yeah, or in the traditional world, a comic book or something like that. Although on that, nobody gets the secondary, right?
That's right. That's right.
And so this is a better modern version, and I think two things are happening, right? It's either like a better modern version of like comic books, or like you said, an affiliate system or whatever. But where I think it's even more important to think about, because people might think about it and go, okay, that's pretty cool or whatever. But where this, I think, gets to a whole different status is on top of that economy I just kind of described as being this modern new thing, right? A evolution of everything else. You have to remember that younger people, especially kids, don't see physical products the same way that we do. So we are seeing, talk about music as an example, more vinyl is being sold than like probably ever before now, even though less vinyl is being listened to. And the reason is because of that scarcity, because artists are putting out different color records and different types of records. And
I just went to a concert and just bought vinyl. I buy vinyl and just nail them into my walls.
Exactly. It's a poster. It is a collectible.
I think more people are getting SIM swapped than we realize.
And where I'm going with that is that's the evolution of that industry, because digital songs, the way they're being distributed, gets you more fans but makes you less money. Unless you go on tour and unless you sell physical things or sell things directly to your super fans, you're not making money. But as that continues to grow, and as we evolve, our kids are getting older and older and older, and they actually think the digital thing is more real and more important to them than to us having a physical collectible.
And as exclusive for sure,
it's more exclusive, it's special. They actually keep it on their devices. Like anytime my kids have ever received a physical thing that came with a digital thing, I've done that before. I've gotten records and things where you get a digital version. I put the digital version on my thing, but I save the physical thing, and it's important to me, and I might put it somewhere or put it on a wall, whatever. It's really important to them. They throw away the physical thing, never think about it ever again, because the digital thing is the reason they even bought it.
If you were in my house, you would realize the value of the digital thing, because the CDs all get scratched when they sit in the shelf. I can tell you, I can pick any one of my kids' CDs. I guarantee you, there's scratches on it.
My kids have never owned a CD. I don't think they've ever owned a CD. I don't think we have a CD player in our house anymore. The DVD player we had got recycled recently, and I realized our wedding DVD is one of the only DVDs we still have, and I'm like, I need to digitize.
All right, we've got a limited time. What can you show us, Daniel? I know people are like, okay, we got to see the platform.
Let me dive in and show you. I just want to make one more comment here. There's a really passionate thing I have, like having a young family. I have 3 kids, my wife and I. There's really a big resurgence of like moms wanting to be stay-at-home moms as well. And I just want to mention this because I think that moms have a lot to offer the world. Watching my wife and all the things that she does, it's a very unglorious world, but yet she still chooses to stay in shape. She still chooses to do yoga. She still chooses to write children's books. So I think that there's a really amazing resurgence of women who, whether it be exercise and workout classes and nutrition courses, whether it be eating plans, whether it be, financial, there's still financial counseling, how to raise children, how to choose what homeschooling curriculum, if the ones that are homeschooling. Digital goods are blowing up in this area where women are actually a lot on digital marketing. I mean, women are incredibly brilliant in digital marketing, whether it's faceless Instagram or how to build a TikTok following to 10,000, like hacking these algorithms. So I want to mention that as I show this, to also filter this through women are some of the most prolific when it comes to even the multi-level marketing, which is actually taking a product and reselling it. And so whether it's a book, whether it's an art thing, on Photoshop or InDesign, we're seeing a lot of that. That's all I want to mention. And then I'm going to present and show, and I'll just walk you through, and then you guys can stop me as you need to.
Does your wife homeschool at all? Because this is another avenue I'm thinking about. Like a lot of these homeschool, so my kids are homeschooled, and my wife stays home, but I'm thinking, there's all these type of programs and stuff that can potentially be sold or brought to the marketplace for homeschool students and stuff like that.
100%. And so my wife did homeschool. Now we started sending our kids to school. But when you start homeschooling, you got 3 kids. It's like, what curriculum's best? How do you help your kid? I'm using this curriculum, but they're behind in English. What's a supplementary reading program? This is all digital content, guys, right? the best digital content, another feature that we're going to be working on, I just want to mention, is subscriptions, because maybe it's not just buying a one-time access to my purpose workbook, which I'll show you, but maybe it's buying monthly access to weekly calls where we have Q&A, and another weekly call where I'm actually walking you through what I taught my kids last week, what I'm teaching them now, how to be fine, right? So there's the coaching membership stuff is really big in this space, and we're excited about that. But what you would do is you would go to hypermarket.xyz. It's all live right now. You can launch a store in less than 15 minutes and sell anything to anyone, and then grow your following. And so pricing, just to make it very simple, 9% on all those transactions. We're working out this. This week we'll have the capability that if you want to pay $99 a month and pay 0%, you can do that. But you would actually just click start for free and immediately go through the login process. Instead of me showing you that, I've already created a login for myself. So I'm just going to log in with my login. So you can do any one of the platforms that you like, or again, do the create account and use your email. But I'm going to log in with Google because that's what I always do in almost all these platforms. It makes it very simple for me. Okay, so cool. I land first on my portal. So think about someone like me. Like I literally built a curriculum, a book. I turned it into 9 full courses and 187 intervention classes with professional development training into this massive corporation that we literally sold. But I still have the workbook. I have lots of courses. What I'm saying is when you're a digital creator, you're a prolific digital creator. I have a Wavelength podcast. I have the Art of Success. I had the Dreamcast podcast. I might have some gaming assets. My wife and I built a marriage journal and booklet, which is really cool. And I got some other like cool examples of like a prolific influencer, an investor guy that does coaching. But when I click into the Purpose Workbook, I'm going to show you an example created, and then I'm going to show you one we could create from the ground up if you guys would like. But I built this Purpose Workbook example. You kind of put in your images, you put in your social media.
So this is the content builder that you get with when you log into the platform. Okay.
Yeah, for better like words, it's a seller dashboard, what we're looking at right now. It's a little example of what my page is going to look like. My content page is where I'm going to create access after someone purchases it. I'm going to create access to that digital marketplace asset that they bought. And a lot of the stuff in the beginning, we're getting so much feedback from customers. A lot of this is going to change from the time someone watches this to the usability is even getting better.
Is the content being hosted by you? Are they accessing it through your site? Are they receiving it as a downloadable?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let's go into that. So you create a group that you make exclusive to a specific type of product that anyone that buys this book. And then inside that group, you're creating kind of like a post, if you would call it that, content, to where you would actually drop in your PDF right here. So right here in this attachment, you can put a bunch of different attachment types, David, or, nowadays, if you want to host a video, you just put it on your YouTube, make it a private link and put your private links of your YouTube in here. Gotcha. You can go as far to use this text editor to actually drop in images and almost kind of create like a course. Now it's going to be a single page course, but even this could be like every week I'm going to put in a new Zoom link for Thursday coaching calls, and people go here and they get access to that so they can actually do the calls as well. So there's a lot of things that will happen in that.
There's some video sites out there that allow you to put a code in there. Is there a way to have it so that way you can create different codes for each individual, so that way?
Well, that's the private link he was saying. So like you only subscribers, either someone who subscribes if it's a recurring payment, or someone who buys something one time, could access when they're logged in. And
my only concern is what if someone shares that link out there on the web all of a sudden, right?
So that's going to happen. There's a few ways. If they're doing it on Zoom, they could just not allow that person to go into the room by making it a minutes only and giving them instructions in your content to actually have that be their first and last name of the person that made the purchase. But there's a few ways to kind of accomplish that last part. The other thing too, though, is like if someone's going to hack the system and do that, I think what happens is then that's the very next thing our customers will tell us, and then we'll build a feature that maybe has that be embedded into the system. Right now we're lean machine. We are wanting to build around creators. If you're a creator and you want us to prioritize certain features, we've anticipated some of these. I've really gone deep on this one before, David, and so
you have the experience in it. You've been doing it.
Yeah, and my favorite features for our team to build are features that our actual customers that are using the platform ask for. So yes, and so I'll show you like the end all of what the product looks like is right here. So I could have dropped like 4 different versions of the Purpose workbook in here, but I have 10 copies of this workbook. I can buy it right now and it will pop it up and I can log in and create an account. There's a mobile, it's all mobile kind of first. So it had that at the bottom right there. So log in, create, I would purchase the workbook and then I have access to the content. So if I go to the content page right now, I can have access to it because I'm logged in as myself, but everyone else would have a big lock button on that and they wouldn't be able to see the actual content in there to download it. So I can download this right here, or I can start a discussion, like, comment with my community of people who have bought the product. Let's say I have tons of products. The cool thing is I can let all of my products be on a single product page. And I think what's really special about this is, for me, I have one spot where I can manage all of those items. So I can manage my marriage journal that I do, right? It's a single spot to where I can manage all the different brands that I may have. We built this example around, this is a very famous yoga instructor. She has awesome stuff if you like yoga, and just like seeing what it looks like with lots of products, right? It's pretty unique. And then, this is just some of the.
So a question, right? Because the hardest part is getting started. So you have the platform where they can build content. If a new user is trying to get started and launching their product, what do you recommend? How do you recommend they go and create the content that they can build and then upload or provide to your site?
Yeah, so let's go to where we first logged in. And I think the reason I like that example is we can start from zero. So let's first just click create site. You're going to click create site at the bottom and then walk through the prompts. Like, we try to make the platform to where you're going to create a site. Don't worry about creating this site and naming it the wrong thing. You can always rename it later. And so if you just go through the prompts, that's actually going to start to spark the very process of me showing you what I'm showing you right now. Is going to spark that idea that you have, that thought that you have, right? And so I could recreate, which one could I do? I'll do a song, one of my favorite artists here. So let me just pull this up here.
I would assume also all of the content that you need, right, is probably content you've already created when creating the content you want to sell. So the second you have something you want to sell, you've probably already made a cover for it.
Well, I mean, my hard part is I got all these ideas, right? And of course, with ChatGPT these days, we can come up with even 1,000 more. The thing is like, okay, do I use Canvas? Like, how do I build content that then I can then go make it worthwhile to resell, right? And I think that's a hurdle for a lot of people, is they just don't know
where to start.
It's where to start, where to build the content.
I'm showing you right now, right? I'm building like one of my favorite artists. He has unreleased music like every artist does, and he can sell subscription or access to single songs. And then he could actually allow his fans to resell those to other people as well. So you just saw me go through the prompts on the site, create a site, and then it has you come up with information. Here, like I said, you can change it if you want to change it. You can put those social links in. I didn't put them in, but you can put them in. Now it's saying get started on your first product. So there's another thing we can do is I'm in draft mode right now for my domain. So right now, when you go to purpose.hypermarket.world, so that's my domain that instead of going out, this is what I would say, David. Instead of the user going and trying to find the domain of the brand they want, they can use our domain and subdomain off of ours for free. And so we give them this long URL, but like, if this is going to be for this gentleman here, I'm just going to call it San, right? This is the artist, san.hypermarket.world. You don't have to go buy a domain and guess at the branding name right now. We'll make it very easy for you to have a website domain that hosts your products. So boom, this is going to go pending, and then you'll have a website to send people to. He can send people to this once he releases his product. So now that we managed our domain out, let's get to our first product. See, because now it's no longer that long domain. It's san.hypermarket.world. So let's go to my first product. Again, same thing. It's going to walk you through the steps. Boom. And let's just create like a song. Like, we're going to create a song that he's already probably released, but we're just going to act like he hasn't released it, I guess. He has
make something up.
Okay. This is one of the songs.
So now, is this content he's already put up on the site, on your platform?
Say it again.
No, he's giving us an example.
This is just an example. Yeah, this is 100% just an example. You can do different attributes like, time, and this is like 3 minutes and 26 seconds. There's just kind of cool like marketing attributes you could put into this stuff. This is all about that specifically. So we did boho. Let's go over to music.
Can you do infinite supply if needed be? Or
that infinite supply is something that's being worked on right now. So in this current sprint that we're in, we're working on infinite supply and the ability to edit pricing after you've published them. Okay. So this next 2 weeks, there's going to be a ton that just our customers have been asking for, and we're making it. So I love that you're asking these things because it's affirming, because we're working on it right now.
It's inspired me. Like I've had so many ideas for courses and stuff, and it's just like, but like they'll figure out the process of where to go to sell it and what to do, and it's just, that's the hardest part, is just getting started, right? A lot of times.
Yep. And now you're getting your collection data. Well, think about a collection as an entire group of products. What we've learned is we're actually in this current sprint too, getting rid of collection, because right now most creators just think product by product. That's what our customers have told us. So we're going to have it just be product by product, and then you can later group it into a collection. Yeah. So I'm still showing you the current experience because I think it's still useful. And let's go.
You're making it looks like the process is fairly simple.
Yeah. It's just drag and drop, man. Like that's what I like about it too, is not overly complex and complicated. And then the output is really beautiful. So I'm going to do that. You can choose like light or dark or modern for the font styles. A collection about music that inspires. You can use ChatGPT and drop it in. That'll be a future feature that I'd like to see, where you can just type it in and chat, get it to actually produce an AI development. So collection price, I'm just going to do it at $20. This is that secondary fee we were talking about. I'm just going to take that 10% of all secondaries. And then boom, I get to see what my collection could look like. I'm going to publish my site first, then publish my collection. I'll do my onboarding with Stripe. And so this is the payment. We actually partner with Stripe. It's a very well-known credit card processor that every one of our other competitors utilize, so that you can actually receive your payments. And so if you have a Stripe account, this process is going to be very, very quick. If you don't have a Stripe account, then
it's still pretty quick. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's probably like 10 minutes max if you have to like go gather information. I think it's pretty darn quick though.
I know an ape that might be able to sell some music on here. I'm going to have to talk to that ape.
Let's go. Let me know if you need some help. So this is, I wonder if this is going to go deep.
I was going to make some really bad jokes because just because it's possible doesn't mean anyone would buy it though. See,
that's the key. So you have to know that you're going to market it, and that that's what we want. We want to focus on creators who have a baked-in audience, who have product market fit, right? You see I'm clicking through buttons, how fast this thing is. Yeah. So even when you're creating your account, it's this fast. So I'm linking a bank, I'm linking a thing. Boom, the next thing you know, it needs my website. Okay, so I'm going to go. I'm just like moving quickly here. I'm making.
Could that be your Hypermarket website, or is that a separate website?
I think this is just a Stripe check. It's just, okay. I don't think it.
But yeah, you could probably put your Hypermarket page that you.
And I usually do that actually, but I mean, I just like kind of did whatever. So now, boom, I can publish my collection now that I'm loaded. You see publish collection. And now let me go up to my preview and let me view my site. Guys, that was not 15 minutes. And we got our first product here. Baby, you okay? Nice. So let me go to the collection view. There we go. So people can buy your product and then they get access. No, we didn't give the access then. That's when we would actually go into content, create the group, create the content. But right now, part of the user experience, again, one of the things that our customers have said is we're actually creating all of this in one flow. So you're not going to go to different places anymore. You're actually going to drop the exclusive content right into the content creation. We're getting rid of collections. I mean, this thing is just now is going to iteratively just get more. It's all about usability from our perspective, because the usability is already great, but we want to make it better based on feedback. So don't be surprised if when you saw this, it's already different when you go in there and easier and better. So
that's awesome. That's super cool. I think there's just so much that this industry, I mean, not really this industry, literally the whole world of commerce is going to grow into more and
Evolving
more
so fast.
digital native, allowing individuals, whether it's their side gig or their full-time job, to make money this way. And it's where the world is moving, right? And the kind of content and whatever that you get, right? Like the ability to give Daniel $5 a month because he's an artist that I love, and to get special content from him or whatever is just a growing opportunity and a growing space, right? So it's exciting to see you launched and live and now iterating and growing. It's gonna be rad to use this. We're gonna have to do all sorts of things. I think Nate on our team, he does his accelerator stuff, could be using this too. I was just thinking we got to get him loaded.
He has given us such great feedback of the other platforms, and it was exactly right in what we were thinking with those competitors and how we differentiate against them and with them. So, and I love that you're using the artists. I do just want to go back and say, like, when I look at these like discovery marketplaces and all the people currently selling stuff, it is remarkable the types of stuff. There's High Vibe Tribe. There's these, VIP coaching for women, how to stay
that's what I was,
positive.
that's exactly what I was talking about before. Everything that you think, like, I'm a super nerd for Southern California hardcore punk rock, and you might not think that's a big group of people, but I could be walking around Europe in an ill repute shirt and someone will scream nardcore at me from like across a place, and you just like, that's my guy, right? Like you just know, right? And it's like, but I could be literally in Oxnard, California, where the nardcore movement came from, and people look at me like, well, what stupid shirt is that, right? Like that's the thing, is that like everything now is, if you're super into something, you can guarantee there's other people in the world that are super into it too. And if you're a nerd that wants to throw your dog on the back of a t-shirt,
I know, right? And nobody still knows what the hell it is.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. People will pay $150 a month. There's people that have 900, 10,000, 5,000 people that are part of a monthly subscription for $150 just to learn about AI tools. What are the best AI tools out there? How do you automate your content pipeline for your business? I like the ones that pull through to even helping business with like social media or growth, because those are ones that they're $150 is nothing if they're getting access to like this support, this knowledge. But I like what you're saying, there's also this niche stuff, like, like
what you're talking about, right? There's going to be 1 million people selling AI things today. And in 6 months, there'll be 1,000 people selling AI things today, or maybe double or triple or quadruple, but less people per one, or like it's a trendy certain opportunity. What I'm saying is that there is not just those trendy opportunities of today, but there is every single thing you might not think is a big thing, right? Like you mentioned, motorcycle repair. You would go like, is there a place on the internet to sell motorcycle repair? It sounds like a backwards thing, like, like it's old school. It's not a thing, but all you need is the thing you're obsessed with or the thing you're interested in. You will find your people on the internet. But you're not necessarily going to be great at building an e-commerce solution and a whole user experience.
You and your skill. Yeah. You have a skill. You have something to offer. I like what you're saying. If you try to be great at the tech, there's a lot of tech out there to help you do that part. Right.
Well, it's like fixing that vehicle or that laundry, dryer, and you have, if you can't, I mean, these days we YouTube a lot of it, right? But if you want to learn that one skill because you have something you have to fix, you're gonna be willing to pay $10 for a video.
There's people
even more than that, just wanting to it. You could just be a nerd for Indian motorcycles from the World War II era, right? Like
it's amazing. It's
right. Like I don't know where you would even start, right? Like I have a 1967 Ford Fairlane convertible. Do I know if there's a crew of other people that want to fix up 66 and 67 Fairlanes? I bet if I created some special content, there'd be a nerd of, it might be 10 people, it might be 100 people in this world that are super into it, right?
Well,
and that's your crew.
Do you have a rating system on there? Like, can people leave feedback on the content? Because that's my biggest thing is like, there's so much garbage on YouTube, right? And the problem with this content on YouTube is it'll take you 20 videos to actually find one good one that had good quality. And
Yep.
so I'm willing to, people will be more willing to pay for content if they know it's good quality.
Reviews have just been designed as of last week and approved. I don't know if they're going to make it on this sprint or the sprint after, but I know that they're within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Awesome.
Because general feedback is going to be the best way. Like Airbnb, the best way you know if a host is good, if the property is good, is you look at reviews. So that's why I said the easiest and most trusted place to buy and sell digital goods, we have to power that review cycle.
Yeah.
I want to put one more example, and then I'll hand it back to you guys because I know we're going to wrap up here. But like, look, I mean, there's some people out there that, were very lethargic and they started gaining weight and they got overweight and then they lost all that weight. People can offer that process, that cycle from a community coaching standpoint. It's about coaches. Coaching has changed my life. Our curriculum that we built was about coaching young kids with mental health, right? And the mental health stuff is around social and emotional development and learning social skills, management skills, self-awareness skills, social awareness skills. And so I think like the losing weight thing, people that have, gotten themselves free from the addiction of alcohol, there's courses that you pay. You're a part of a community, a group. It's forced in there. I love workout groups, man. Like without a workout partner, without the gym as a social accountability, these are I think, digital platform, the digital personalities that are doing really well.
And I'm going to tap on a conversation we had earlier in the week because I was so impressed by your podcast that you did, or the interview you did with Dave Blesnak. And we were talking, all you did is you paid $100 to go to a church and have it shot at a church with this great scene to make it look so super professional. And I was like, that's just brilliant.
You would never know that would be where we were at, right?
And I'm sorry if I said something and I spoiled the beans, but
not at all.
This is what people need to do. Go spend $100, do a thing on a church or some other event, take a video to make it look professional, and then market it.
Mm-hmm. People don't realize that all of these resources exist, right? Whether it's at churches or community centers, or somebody who set up a podcast studio for themselves, right? Spent a bunch of money, but 90% of the time it's sitting there empty, and people are usually willing to share those things or let you pay them a few bucks to utilize it. These things exist, and once you find that out, that's great. But again, go into Hypermarket. You're creating the content. You have a million opportunities to create high quality content now for practically free, or spend a few bucks and get really high quality content. And then you need to distribute it. And you shouldn't be spending a ton of time on that part of the process because you have these tools with Hypermarket available to you. We got to finish up. Daniel, one last, where can people follow you? Where should they go for Hypermarket?
Yeah, hypermarket.xyz is the website where they can actually learn a lot about that. Interact with me. I'm on Instagram. So it's at Daniel Budzinski. My name's right there, Daniel Budzinski, Budzinski. And then, I'm on social media. So I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm predominantly on Instagram. I'm on Twitter as well. And love to interact with entrepreneurs that are creating digital goods. Would love to walk through that digital good if we can find time to actually connect and you build it on Hypermarket. Would love to have you send it to me and we chat about it and get on a call. But thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. We'll have you on more often. We'll do a roundup of more people building for sort of the creator economy in general. Anyway, we'll get like Zoop on with you and
I think
we'll have some fun.
I need a challenge where we go build something and put something up there.
I think we should. Let's
cool.
Let's figure it out. Let's make some art or sell something. It'll be awesome. That'll be fun. We should do that.
I only need to make that course that everybody
it should include apes, Roblox, and music. Okay? It's like we're gonna find we're gonna dial into people obsessed with apes, Roblox, and music. It'll be fun. All right, guys. It was great to see you. Thank you so much, Daniel. We will definitely have you on some more, and we're going to update everybody. Make sure to sign up on our newsletter and go to dgb.vc, and you'll definitely get Hypermarket updates. All right. Talk to you all soon. Thanks, everyone.
Peace. Have a good day.
Boom. All right.